Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just stop.
This is a sham.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Thursday, everybody. Let's jump right in because you know what? We're starting off with the Kardashians.
Your favorites.
People get tired of Will Smith after a week. We got Kardashians for years.
Yes.
Kim Kardashian is taking the high road in her. Hey, just so you know, Will Smith is coming up if we speed through the Kardashians. So that's not even a joke. Kim Kardashian is taking the high road in her divorce from Kanye West. Kim opened up about their very public separation last night to Robin Roberts. She said even though Kanye has mocked her boyfriend Pete Davidson and ranted about their divorce on Instagram, she has always been a champion of Kanye speaking his truth, but said she doesn't try to hide anything from her kids. Let's take a look.
I'm really open and honest with them. You know, the younger ones don't understand as much. But as far as with my two older ones, they know what's going on. And you have to just really be there for them no matter what. Even in this crazy life that we live, you just have to have a really open dialogue with your children. Kanye and I have had conversations. We have to talk daily for the kids. So, you know, I hate that it had to play out like that. But when it comes to family, I mean, Kanye and I will always be family.
In my head, I was like, is she running for president? But then I was like, wait a second, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
seriously.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's not in 20 years. I'll be like, yeah, Kim Kardashian's our president, kid.
People thought Kanye was going to run it. So yeah, exactly.
Well, he did run.
Yeah, I guess that was a good try. I will say.
Good try.
This is kind of like why I've always liked the Kardashians, and they've always gotten mixed up into people of like dirty pop culture. I've always thought that when it comes to their significant others, they rise above, including like Kris and Bruce. Like when Bruce became Caitlyn, that was really hard for Kris Jenner, and they did it on the show, but they did it, I thought, quite thoughtfully. So I'm always a fan of them. They never seem to bash the Lamar Odoms that like were caught at the Bunny Ranch. You know, they see even Tristan Thompson.
Cavs.
They don't seem to trash. So very mature in my point of view. The whole family.
Yeah, that's what I've always wondered, and maybe Erica, you can give some insight on this. Why do people dislike them so much? Because just like the Lamar Odom thing, when people talk about having grace in a situation, it's easy when it's like, hey, I either don't know you or we work together, I like you, I can be nice to you. But when somebody cheats on you publicly and is then almost half dead on the ground at the Bunny Ranch and you stand by their bedside, you can go back and forth about whether people say, I would never or I would, but she did. And she didn't trash him, and that meant a lot to me because when somebody's dealing with addiction, you're extremely vulnerable, especially when you're both public figures, and they could have taken their shots and they would have been right to do it, and they didn't do it. And I feel like they didn't get as much props as they should for that.
All right. Well, let's not get too deep.
So,
you want to get into
let's
that?
talk about
We got a couple other sisters we got to get to, but go ahead.
Erica's gonna get me.
I think this is they are branding gurus, but people could learn a lot from them from branding. When we're talking about a family, people don't think of a family as a brand, but brand is truly an extension of self, and you have to protect that at all costs. So the idea that you would co-parent with someone and you're not going to trash them will also come back tenfold for you because you don't know which way your child is actually going to go in a reaction to that. So I don't know anything about the Kardashians, really, not like Tori, but I can say that that's what I understand.
All right. Well, speaking of Kardashians, Kim's sister Kourtney is setting the record straight about her so-called fake wedding in Vegas. Kourtney told Jimmy Kimmel that she and Travis Barker had every intention of getting legally married, but weren't able to get a marriage license at 2 a.m. since the office opened at 8. Kim also admitted she slept through Kourtney's text messages announcing she got married. Meantime, Khloe opened up about her on-again, off-again relationship with Tristan Thompson.
Cavs.
There you go. On last night's ABC special and talked about Tristan cheating the day she went into labor. Let's take a look.
I remember when he cheated on me right before I gave birth, and I was able to still have him in the delivery room. And so, yes, it might have looked strange to the outside world, but when my daughter watches my home videos of it, those videos are going to be as pure and perfect as I was able to make them. I still think he's a great guy and he's a great dad. He's just not the guy for me.
Listen, I don't know. Was that a little backhanded slap a little bit?
I
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think to her daughter when she watches that, like, hey, just because he was out doing his thing and sleeping with another woman while you were born, I still love you and care for you.
I hear what you're saying, but I also think that, like, Tristan did Chloe really wrong.
No, I don't disagree with that. But that wasn't like.
Tristan was being Tristan.
But don't put
We
music
forget
behind
about
it and make
the
it seem like it was a Hallmark card.
Well, I mean, it's like people, it is a little confusing when you are with someone who had another woman, his girlfriend at the time, pregnant, and then it's shocking that the history repeated itself. You know, I think sometimes people can change, but a lot of times they don't. And there's a lot here. I think that I'm not saying that anyone's a villain and anyone's a hero, but I think that the conversation is a lot more complex than, I just love how they handled that. You know, there's reasons for why everything is handled the way that it's handled.
I would just say, you're right, it's all optics, right? I just think their optics are polished and glossy with a score behind them, and they did that perfectly.
That's the brand.
Yes. Yeah, that's the brand, and they did it well. I'm just saying they did it well. I'm not saying that's who they are in their hearts, but they know how to do it optically.
And I would say, you know, making this relatable to all of us, I think there's optics with every relationship. I think if this Thanksgiving and, you know, you and Jordan have fought in the car, when you get to Thanksgiving, y'all are going to put on a face for 4 hours and y'all will handle it afterwards. I think there's because you don't want to be like, oh, that's the Thanksgiving, there was an argument.
Right.
You know?
Well, some people do that.
Right.
Some people bring all their drama onto the dinner table.
Yes.
So, yes.
I mean, my favorite families.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Everybody does have optics, but it's a matter of, like, who's really peeping it out. Most people who are peeping it out are like, I know what y'all doing.
Well, do you think we'll ever see a day where the Kardashians not fall, but come down? Like, people are like, I'm over it. I mean, it hasn't happened in 30 years. Are we going to see that in the future?
I think they're so interwoven with people's lives now that if you are a fan of the show, that it's just like the news. It's just something you watch now. It's been on for so long, you probably don't know your life without it.
Or some people might say they do it for a living. So, Mark Wahlberg Kardashian is listing his Beverly Hills mansion for nearly $90 million. Check this out. It features 12 bedrooms, 20 bathrooms, and a separate guest house. The mega mansion features this amazing two-story entryway, a library, a study room, a kitchen with 2 islands, a fully equipped gym, movie room, and 5-hole golf course. Mark bought the land in 2009 for just over $8 million. Again, I want to reiterate, he's selling for almost $90 million.
Where do you move after that was your old house?
Yeah, where are you going?
To the moon!
I mean,
where do
really,
you go?
truly.
Something smaller.
You think so?
Absolutely.
It's too big. Yeah, at some point you can't feel like you're even in your own. It's not home.
Well, just wall off one wing of the house, and then now you got a smaller house.
I wonder if he's moving out of Los Angeles, though. That's what that was my first question.
Maybe. I mean, the house is amazing.
Wow.
I don't know. Is that too much for any of you guys? 20 bedrooms, 20 bathrooms?
Yeah, that's way too much.
What do you mean, is that too much for any of you guys?
Some people like that. I mean, some people want a huge mansion.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But I think 50 Cent really put into perspective about the mega mansions, because he would talk about how the toilets would always break down because they weren't being flushed.
Oh, yeah. Gotta exercise the gaskets.
And I think that, when people have these, like, huge mega mansions, and also, like, look how dated some of the rooms were. Now you have to, like, decide, okay, am I going to do a renovation on all of this space, or am I just going to move and have somebody else do it? That's how a lot of people do. They just unload it.
I wish I had that problem. Speaking of Mark Wahlberg, guess what? He's going to be on DBL tomorrow.
Yes.
He's telling us all about his new movie, Father Stew, and how he had to gain 30 pounds in just 6 weeks for the role. I could have done that.
Yeah.
Here's a sneak peek of the interview.
And you're not supposed to do it at my age. I will admit, I'm 50 years old. I'm definitely into the third quarter, maybe even looking at the fourth. Golly, God knows. But that being said, it takes a lot of discipline, and I don't mind being disciplined, but you also have to be smart.
What a great dude. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Poshmark.
Erica, I wanted to ask you about Billy Bush, because we talked about it off and on throughout the series, but like, you said something I thought was interesting. You said people don't get canceled. They're more like in a cycle, you know, in terms of
like a wave.
A wave. Billy Bush.
We're gonna actually do the story next.
Okay.
Well, you could give a little. No, you can give a little.
Yeah, I was just gonna give a little bit in that, like.
I think that's a good story.
I think it's
Billy
interesting.
Bush weighing in on cancel culture.
Right, and just like
That's the next block.
Okay.
We're gonna kill the crypto story and do the Billy Bush Will Smith story.
Okay, good, because I don't know anything about crypto.
Okay.
Even though you sounded like you did.
I don't know.
Here, that's the
I don't know
Yeah.
anything about
You
it.
guys were all
I think-
talking a little too, pretty darn smart, and it was like.
Erica's like, did you have an MLL? And I was like, what the?
No, he was talking
I was-
mid-level. So basically, the story, since we're not doing it, is that a couple Hollywood actresses were talking to women about investing in crypto. And we got into this whole conversation because Al and I were talking earlier about this bag, like a luxury handbag. And I have this bag that I use a lot because when I buy something, I use it. It's not really like an investment thing. But a lot of people, and especially in this example too, it's like you hear something and that doesn't necessarily apply to your resources, but you get in on it because it seems like, you know, this famous person or someone that you know is doing really well with it. But a part of a lot of these opportunities has to do with resource. So it's really important to align yourself with the opportunities that your resources support in hopes that you grow your resources to move on to bigger opportunities, not vice versa.
Dang.
Yeah, Jeff is like, yeah, I mean,
I need Erica
Well, it's
to.
like,
the way
Welcome back. The Oscar board has moved up its meeting to decide on what to do about Will Smith. So they will meet tomorrow morning to figure out if he will face punishment for slapping Chris Rock. Will has already resigned from the Academy and will have 2 weeks to respond to whatever the board decides. Meantime, Billy Bush is weighing in on Will's future. TMZ asked the former canceled host if he had any advice for him. Let's take a look. All right, I was looking forward to that quote, but it was a little lackluster. I don't know. I was looking for a little something more powerful. But coming from Billy Bush, I was wondering what he would say because he went through it, right? He came out the cancel culture, came out the other end. He's a host now for another show. But I find it interesting him weighing in on Will.
Right. Yeah. And Erica, this is kind of what I wanted to talk to you about because you said something recently that really got me to thinking when you were talking about you don't know so much and I want to you'll put it better than I will. It's more about like you're riding a wave and it's not really that you're being canceled. So what would you look at in terms of Billy Bush from the Access Hollywood moment to where he is now? Like how would you look at his career? Do you think he was canceled and came back or do you think this is just his time again?
I think that most people in public spaces are riding a wave because if you are powerful or revenue driven or you can drive enough revenue, there's always going to be a cloak of protection short of you have an actual victim. That's what we're seeing now. There's an actual physical victim that's saying this is what this person did to me is often how people are canceled, or a marginalized group where you're oppressing actively. But for mistakes that are happening in the moment, for whatever reason, I think there's a wave. And what happens is if you are someone who is riding the wave really high, then there is going to be a cloak of protection if people feel like the revenue is going to support you being protected. If you're somebody who might be mid, then you might go down for a little bit. people are going to forget. People's memories are very short.
Could I jump in here real fast because we only have a couple seconds left? But do you think a more appropriate name would be cripple culture? And I'm trying to be disparaging. I hope I could use that word still. I don't know. But because you're not really canceled. Billy Bush is technically canceled, but he's working for another show.
Right.
Do you think cripple culture is more
I would say a timeout.
Because
he got put on a timeout.
But it's not timeout because Billy Bush is crippled for the rest of his life. Will Smith will be crippled for the rest of his life.
What was his currency at that point?
What's Will Smith's?
Well, Will Smith's is exponentially higher.
Right, but his will fall. He will be crippled from this moment for the rest of his life. We will see.
We'll see.
Coming up on DBL, our interview with Bravo star Craig Conover. He's spilling all the Southern Charm tea. Stick around.
One of the most treasured parts of the game happens before the umpire calls play ball. Accounts of special guests throwing out a ceremonial first ball date back to the 1890s, like this report of President William McKinley, then governor of Ohio, tossing the ball from the stands to the diamond in 1892. It is America's pastime after all, and America's presidents have partaken in ceremonial first pitches for more than a century. Here's a photo of William Howard Taft at National Park tossing the ball on opening day in 1910, the first presidential pitch at the majors. Archived Sports Illustrated reports say it was an effort to boost attendance, and it worked. Nearly every president since then has participated on opening day and to start games throughout the season. You do not, though, have to win the White House to play the role. You don't even have to be any good at baseball. For a tradition that you won't find in the MLB's official rules, the first pitch has certainly made a lasting impact on America's game. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico. Play ball.
Ghost flights are empty or nearly empty airplanes flying their regular route, and they're not a rare occurrence. A report in the British newspaper Guardian found there are 500 ghost flights in the United Kingdom every month. The reason airlines bother with these flights is to keep precious landing and departing slots. It's a complicated system, but basically airlines need to secure slots at airports for takeoff and landing. At some high-traffic airports, those slots are incredibly valuable, and airlines must use those slots 80% of the time to keep them. So even if they sell no tickets or just a couple, airlines will still run those flights. When the pandemic hit, the threshold was lowered to 50%, but that still resulted in hundreds of ghost flights. Now, environmental groups are calling for an end to the practice, pointing to the wasted jet fuel and CO2 emissions.
You sit home and you sew and you pretend to do things.
What's wrong with my sewing?
That's right. That clip launched a successful business for Southern Charm star Craig Conover. Earlier, we spoke with him about his new book. Plus, he gave us his unfiltered take on social media. Take a look.
Before we begin, I'm told you could hear the last segment that we were all talking about before the commercial break. So what do you think of filters on social media?
It's changed the baseline for everything. So now, like, I don't use them, and the comments that you get, people are like, why is your skin not flawless? Like, why are your teeth not bright white? And you're just like, the fact that people don't live in the real world anymore is just mind-boggling to me. So I block, like, any mean comment about anyone else, I just look who liked that comment, and I block all of them too. So I've filtered a pretty healthy space on my page at this point.
Sounds like it. I like the collective block strategy.
I do the blocking too.
You do?
Oh yeah. If I'm confused about what you say, block.
How do you feel in that clip from Southern Charm now? And looking back, was there anything wrong with your sewing?
No, and there wasn't. And, I fortunately, even though everyone else in my life thought there was something wrong with it, that's what I talk about in the book is you're the only one that needs to believe in yourself. So I knew that I had something there, and everyone else thought I was crazy. But it's funny to look back to those years when, people really were angry at me for even thinking about stepping outside of being a lawyer.
Wow.
Good for you.
First of all, I stepped out from being a lawyer too, and I'm a sewer. So I just want to say, needle up to you. I don't think that's a thing, but whatever. I just wanted to say it. I cross-stitched.
If he could, he'd block you right now.
I'm a cross-stitch Stitcher, I just want to say I'm so excited to talk to you because men really tend to shy away from sewing because of those stereotypes, right? So make the connection for me between sewing and being bullied in high school.
So, well, I was fortunate that I still had home ec when I was in middle school. So we learned how to cook, we learned how to sew, and I really loved it. I wasn't really, I don't know why I was bullied, you know, and you never really do. And I think that's where the shame came from being bullied is I wanted to protect my parents from it. But I mean, I don't know, kids are just cruel and really it comes from stuff that they deal with at home. But, you know, I love to sew and what has come from having this business is people come in the store all the time, young guys or even older guys, and they're like, look, I'm the one that taught my daughters how to sew. I just really don't talk about it outside of the house because, I don't know, hopefully we're just changing, you know, that it's okay to step outside of those stereotypes.
Craig, are you in Paige's closet?
Yes, I am in Paige's closet right now.
All right.
We just
check it. Okay, but let's get back to your ex, Naomi, because obviously this whole thing has been cemented in history. So in that clip from Southern Charm, how did you end up working with her on your new book, Pillow Talk? Because wasn't she a hater?
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate with the timing of stuff because basically she had just broken up with her ex here in New York, and she called me and apologized for everything and really came clean about her behavior back then and everything that I had always wanted to hear and that everyone else in my life. So when it came time to write the book, I was like, hey, you know, I don't feel right telling our story without your input. So she actually interviewed with my writer a couple times, and that's why I feel so comfortable with, you know, what we put out in the book.
Craig, thank you so much for joining us. DBL Nation, you can pick up a copy of Craig's book, Pillow Talk. What's wrong with my sewing? He's also taking his podcast on the road. Visit pillowsandbeer.com for upcoming dates in a city near you. Bye, Craig.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
of Americans have diabetes and need insulin to survive. But the price of that drug is often too much to bear. The American Diabetes Association estimates a quarter of diabetics have at some point had to ration their insulin. That's dangerous and can even be fatal. Outrage to those circumstances prompted the U.S. House to pass the Affordable Insulin Now Act. The bill was largely promoted by Democrats, and 12 House Republicans voted in favor. The Senate has not yet voted on it. Supporters say the act would cap the cost of insulin to $35 per month. But there's been debate among diabetics activists and lawmakers about how helpful the proposal would really be. So let's look into it. Would the Affordable Insulin Now Act cap the cost of insulin to $35 per month for all Americans? Well, to verify, we'll look at the text of the bill and an analysis of the proposal conducted by the Kaiser Family Foundation. Here's what the bill actually says. Beginning January 1st, 2023, health insurance shall provide coverage of selected insulin products and shall not apply any deductible or impose any cost sharing in excess of $35 per 30-day supply. In other words, if you're insured, this bill would cap your monthly copay for insulin at $35. If you're uninsured, this bill wouldn't do anything to help you. That could still mean significant relief for some diabetics. A Kaiser study found about a quarter of insulin users would see their monthly costs reduced by this proposal. But there's nothing in the bill that would limit the actual price pharmaceutical companies charge for the drug. And critics say as a result, insurance companies could just wind up raising premiums. Critics also point to a key word in that bill text we just read, the word selected. The bill would not require insurers to cover all types and brands of insulin, meaning some people might need to alter their prescription in order to save money. So we can verify, no, the Affordable Insulin Now Act would not cap the cost of insulin to $35 per month for all Americans. It only impacts some people with health insurance. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Going from gas to electric. Let's connect the dots. Gas prices are still high. Some people paying an arm and a leg just to get around. Now folks are ditching their cars for electric scooters. The Wall Street Journal reporting demand for e-scooters and e-bikes is surging. A Miami-based manufacturer says sales are up 70% over last year, and a San Francisco manufacturer says its sales are up 60%. Grandview Research shows electric scooters is a billion-dollar industry, with North America expected to see the biggest increase over the next 10 years. They attribute the rise in popularity to increasing demand for fuel-efficient vehicles and environmental concerns. Remember, there may be even more on the way. And that is Connecting the Dots.
This April, connect with Al, Tori, Erica, Jeff, and Sam. Oh my gosh, I love it. Dynamic discussions.
You pick and choose your freedoms of speech.
Can I finish? Passionate emotions.
Let's start putting our money where our mouth is.
But you
get real.
And bringing all the fun. In the words of Al Jackson, this is bananagram. Real conversations are on DBL. I love this story.
That's why you watch every show.
DBL, all new every day.
Break out those phones and scan our QR code. You don't want to miss these deals just in time for Mother's Day. Check it out.
Steph, what do you have for us today?
First up, we've got laundry short sleeve capri pant pajama set. So this deal includes one top and one bottom, available in 3 adorable styles. It's tailored with exceptional quality and softness. Normally it is $98, but we've got it for only $25, which saves everyone at home 75%. Now, Tori, this one it's got to be one of our favorites. It is Cuisinart.
Yay!
We've got Cuisinart Color Core 10-piece multicolor knife set with, let's not forget, the blade guards.
Nice.
So safe. Look at that.
Nice.
So the deal includes a chef's knife, slicing knife, santoku knife, utility knife, and a paring knife. It also comes with Cuisinart's lifetime warranty, of course. Normally, they're $65,
Yep.
but we've got them for only $29, which saves 55%. And next up, we've got Pop Sonic Buff 2.0 facial exfoliator tool.
Ooh.
The head is made with stainless steel and it's got 3 modes for different needs: regular, gentle, and pulse.
Brilliant.
Yeah, get in there.
Yeah.
So normally this is $90. We've got it, Tori, for only $19.
Oh.
I know, so it saves everyone 79%. And then last, but definitely not least, we have got Life Pro Vitalize Plus heated foot massager and vibration machine.
Whoa.
The heated massager has 20 speeds and 5 preset modes for customized support. So normally this device is $300.
Ooh.
But we've got it just for you guys for $79. I know, so it saves everyone 74%.
Guys, head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. You can even go ahead and scan that QR code right on your screen, or you can visit morningsave.com on your smartphone. Thanks so much, Steph.
Okay.
Very nice.
I need that foot massager in my life.
All right, Al, we're going to get you that. But before we go, we want to wish a very happy birthday to our exec producer, Chris Clark. You know, I saw Chris's eyes right when the lights went on. He goes, "Oi." Happy birthday, buddy. We'll see you around same time, same place.